Yo, what is up, guys? Guess which fight just got announced as the co-main event for UFC 257 Poirier vs. McGregor 2? Guess what, guys? Michael Chandler will be fighting Dan Hooker in the co-main event at UFC 257. This fight is absolutely insane. I mean, even this fight card is absolutely insane. UFC 257 is absolutely stacked. Obviously, the main event, Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor. The co-main event now, Michael Chandler and Dan Hooker. We have Jessica Ai and Joanne Calderwood, Shane Burgos, Hakeem Dawodu, Marina Rodriguez and Amanda Ribas, Khalil Roundtree and Marcin Paracchio, Brad Tavares, Antonio Carlos Jr., Andrew Sanchez, Andre Muniz, Armanzar Yukon, Nasrat Hakparas, Atman Zaitar, Matt Fravola, Umar Nurmagomedov, Sergey Morozov, and then Amir Albazi, and Zalga Zumalagulov. I mean, this fight card is already so stacked with already 11 fights on it, and they're just going to add a co-main event with Michael Chandler and Dan Hooker. I mean, I cannot wait for this fight. Michael Chandler finally making his first fight inside the UFC. Michael Chandler, he's 21-5, a former Bellator lightweight champion, the current 15th best lightweight fighter in the world, in my opinion, a top 50 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. I mean, Michael Chandler, he's an absolute beast, probably the best prospect that was outside the UFC before they ended up snagging him into the UFC. But I mean, this man's record is truly amazing. He started his career back in 2009 with one win in the regional scene, got inside the Strikeforce, got a second round knockout win, and then a first round rear naked choke submission win. Joined Bellator in his next fight in 2010, got a first round knockout, first round guillotine choke submission win, a first round arm triangle choke submission win, 2 unanimous decisions, one of which against Patricky Pitbull, and then he fought Eddie Alvarez in his next fight at Bellator 58 in a main event for the Bellator MMA lightweight championship, and he did end up winning that fight by 4th round rear naked choke submission, and then defended his belt multiple times after that with a first round knockout win, a second round rear naked choke submission win over Rick Hahn, a first round knockout win over David Rickles, but in his next fight against Eddie Alvarez in the rematch at Bellator 106 in a main event, ended up losing the very close fight by split decision, losing his MMA lightweight championship for Bellator, but he did not come back after that one as he ended up losing his next fight as well to Will Brooks by split decision, a very disappointing loss in his next fight for the interim lightweight championship. But after that very close split decision loss to Will Brooks and Eddie Alvarez, he fought Will Brooks for another time, and that time it was at Bellator 131 in another 5-round fight, this time for the vacant lightweight championship, but he did end up losing that fight by 4th round knockout, and at that point he was on a 3-fight losing streak inside of Bellator, all against champions, but still, a 3-fight losing streak is still a 3-fight losing streak, and at that point, I mean, those 3 losses were his only 3 losses as a pro MMA fighter, and in 2015, he did come back much better with a first round rear naked choke submission win, a second round knockout over David Rickles, and finally got a shot back at that lightweight belt in a vacant lightweight fight against a Patricky Pitbull in a fight he won by first round knockout back in 2016. But in his next fight against a former UFC lightweight champion in Benson Henderson, ended up getting a very close win by split decision. But in his next fight in 2017 against Brent Primus, ended up losing that lightweight championship. Do you guys want to know why? In the first round, 2 minutes 22 seconds into that very first round, he ended up getting a doctor stoppage due to an ankle injury, had to pull out of the fight, making Brent Primus the new Bellator lightweight champion. And guess what, guys? They did not schedule a rematch after this one. They had Michael Chandler fight 2 other guys in non-title fights, in Gioti Amauchi and Brandon Gertz, and he won both of those fights by unanimous decision in first round arm triangle choke submission, finally getting him a title shot in 2018 against Brent Primus in a fight where finally he won by unanimous decision, making him yet again the Bellator lightweight champion. But guess what, guys? In his next fight against Patricio Pitbull, ended up losing that lightweight championship by first round knockout, came back after that loss with a first round knockout win over Sidney Outlaw, and then finally got another title shot against Benson Henderson, who at that time was the new lightweight champion, and then, as you guys know, ended up winning that fight against Benson Henderson by first round TKO. Absolutely insane. And now he has been signed to the UFC and is fighting Dan Hooker, who's an absolute beast. Now let's take a look at Dan Hooker's record, because this dude is an absolute beast. This is going to be an amazing fight. I cannot wait. But Dan Hooker did start his career back in 2009 with a nice win, lost one, got 2 wins, lost 2, got 2 wins, lost 1, and then went on a 5-fight win streak. Joined the UFC in 2014, was supposed to fight Jake Matthews, but instead fought Ian Swistle and won the fight by first round knockout. Lost his next fight to Maximo Blanco by unanimous decision. Came back after that with a second round head kick KO win over Hatsuyoki. Lost his next fight to Yair Rodriguez by unanimous decision. Came back with a first round guillotine choke submission win over Mark Adiva in his next fight. Lost his next fight to Jason Knight by unanimous decision. Got a second round knockout win over Ross Pearson. A third round guillotine choke submission win over Mark Diakiese. A first round knockout win over Jim Miller. And then finally in his next fight, he got a huge step up in competition against Gilbert Burns. And in the fight, he went out there and he absolutely dominated, getting a first round knockout win against Gilbert Burns in 2 minutes 28 seconds of that very first round. But in his next fight, sadly, against Edson Barbosa, ended up losing that fight by third round body punch KO. Came back after that loss to Edson Barbosa with a first round TKO win over James Vick, a unanimous decision win over Alaya Quinta, a very close split decision win over Paul Felder in a main event at UFC on ESPN Plus 26, and then in his next fight against Dustin Poirier to figure out who was going to be the one to fight Conor McGregor next. He did end up losing that fight to Dustin Poirier by unanimous decision, and now he looks to come back with a win here against Michael Chandler in this fight. Alright guys, so a lot of people are saying that Michael Chandler has not really faced the best competition in his Bellator career, and that doesn't really make the most sense, because he's faced Patricky Pitbull twice, Eddie Alvarez twice, Will Brooks twice, he's faced Benson Henderson twice, and then he faced Patricio Pitbull. He's faced some very, very good competition in his Bellator career, but guys, these fighters that he's faced in his Bellator career, if they were in the UFC, in my opinion, I think at most they'd be the 8th best lightweight, the 9th best lightweight, somewhere around there, right at the bottom of the top 10, but guys, all of those people that Michael Chandler has beat inside of Bellator, they are nowhere near the skill level of Dan Hooker. I mean, Dan Hooker, he's an absolute beast. He has faced amazing competition in the featherweight and lightweight division like Yair Rodriguez, Jason Knight, Ross Pearson, Mark Diakiese, Jim Miller, Gilbert Burns. He beat Gilbert Burns. I'm just going to say that right there. Gilbert Burns is going to be a future welterweight title challenger, and Dan Hooker knocked him out in the first round. That is absolutely insane. He's fought Edson Barbosa, James Vick, Alaya Quinta, Paul Felder, a top 10 lightweight fighter in the world, and then he fought Dustin Poirier in one of the best fights of 2020. I mean, Dan Hooker, he's an absolute beast. I'm going to say right now, the only real threat that Michael Chandler really faces to Dan Hooker is the wrestling. That is basically it. We've seen some guys try to wrestle with Dan Hooker. It doesn't really go well because once he gets the fight back on the feet, he absolutely wrecks the wrestlers. And I think Michael Chandler, if he goes out there and tries to wrestle with Dan Hooker in this fight, I think it's going to be a very, very bad thing for Michael Chandler, because if Dan Hooker can defend against those takedowns and keep the fight on the feet, Dan Hooker will have a very, very fun time at the office on that UFC 257 fight card, and I definitely have Dan Hooker winning this fight by unanimous decision. Alright guys, so I cannot wait for this fight to actually happen. What do you guys think is going to happen in this fight? Do you think Michael Chandler is going to go out there and use his wrestling, get the fight to the ground, and go for some submissions and maybe get a submission, or just control the fight on the ground and get a unanimous decision? Do you think Dan Hooker is going to keep the fight on the feet and dominate the fight on the feet with an amazing reach advantage? What's going to happen in this fight? It's going to be an amazing co-main event for UFC 257. I cannot wait for this fight, but I have Dan Hooker winning the fight by unanimous decision. Put your predictions in the comment section below. Make sure to like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications so you guys don't miss when I post a new video. That'd be absolutely insane. But that's it for the video. I'm out of here.